I guess I'll go through the tips before I carry on. So, Rena, we're the same age? Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal too. Hey now, it'd be weird if we were the same age and not the same zodiac animal. Well, not that weird. You could be in a different year and still the same age. That's not true. If your birthday isn't the same, then you can have different animals even if you're the same age. No. Huh? Oh, I see. Mion, you're pretty smart. What month were you born, by the way, Keiichi-kun? I'm July. Rena smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning on being all high and mighty if her birthday is a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Huh. Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. I wouldn't even mind you if you bet $1 per month. Huh? Huh? Why? Why? Rena panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just sending her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday. It's so fun. I can't help myself. So that means you were born in April, Kei-chan. Right on! Too bad, Rena. I'm already far older than Rena. Oh, I see. Then you're the same age as Mi-chan. Well, it's just a few months. That gap will open up again soon enough. Mion snickered through her nose. Hey now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mion? If you're into underclassmen, then I can be an underclassman from now on. Mi-chan, you're not making any sense to me. Just by seeing Rena's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though. Then Satoko and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different that they should be in a different school, shouldn't they? Keiichi-kun, your tastes are a bit too young, I think. You're not making any sense yourself, Rena. I'll just grab onto her head and scruff it up a bit. How? Stop it. I wondered about it before, yeah. I wondered why this school has different school years all mixed up. There aren't enough classrooms. Can't help it. Oh. No. This building is being rented from the forestry services after all. When she says it like that, it makes sense. I thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel. There are rooms that aren't for classes, and there's some sort of strange construction machinery parked here. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school? There was one here forever from before the war. They got dilapidated. They closed it down. It was probably a grand old schoolhouse. Well, because of that, the students would have to attend the school in the city. That's pretty far away though, you know. Which school would that be? Did you know there's a school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station? Turn at the hospital and head towards the pediatrics department. What? So far, I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it seemed pretty far from Renner's reaction. Well, that's why. The guys that didn't want to commute to Okinomiya rented out the building from the forestry services and are attending this pseudo schoolhouse here. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There are quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into higher education. That's not true, Mi-chan. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want. Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with Renner on this one. Yes, that's right. Let's try our best. All of you try your best. This old man will be rooting for you. Not just us, you too. You should be preparing for exams, shouldn't you? Your future is bleak with grades like this. Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, then I'll just mooch off Kei-chan as he works forever. What do you mean by mooch off Kei-chan? What do you mean? Hey, you're too loud. Be quiet during self-study. The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her in a response. It's just as Mion says. This school has nothing to do with higher education, but it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things that other schools don't. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear all the Higurashi outside. Higurashi, outside chirping, Mimi, and at night, there are mosquitoes. It might as well be summer already. July isn't summer? What the hell? June isn't summer? June, July, August, September? I guess they count September as part of summer. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool. Summer, I do declare. Satoko was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike, that. Even if she was a little brat, she was still a girl. Keiichi does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. From how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it'd be much better cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand, wearing jeans during this season and how steamy the crotch gets. It gets steamy. Oh, this girl has gone imagining something indecent. Renna's summer clothes have a nice refreshing colour. I feel cooler just looking at them. Ah ha 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 ha. Thank you. They really do feel pretty cool. I do wish my summer clothes was as breezy as Renna's. But, Satoko-chan, your summer clothes are so cute, being a one-piece and all. I'd like to wear your summer clothes. This is actually quite stuffy, you know. I do believe what you're wearing would feel much cooler. But it would be so much more fun with cute clothes. How? I had a feeling that Renna and Satoko's base values were fundamentally different. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform. Yeah, it doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are fine. There are quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same. That's the city's school's uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them. Speaking of which, everybody in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did we go out of our way to get them from somewhere? Why yes, Mion supplied them. Mi-chan's relative runs a second-hand clothing store. They can get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say. So, you asked those relatives to get a bunch of unique school uniforms then? That Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothes from schools all over the country? That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. What's the point in stocking up clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about? Yeah, I think so too. They've also used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't think the idea of having used one. I don't like the idea of having used ones. It doesn't sound like that shop makes much money. They'd probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. But Mion-san says it'll be a big hit and become a great store with such conviction. A second-hand clothing store that stocks school uniforms will be a big hit? I don't get it. Hold on. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. And to top it off, that pesky mom of mine pushing a return journey errand on me just as I'm trying to leave the house. Today was the day. Rena and Mion was going to show me around Hinamizawa. Rena and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place. Kei-chan, you're late. Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that. Oh, so that's your excuse for being late and keeping two girls waiting. Mi-chan, you just got here yourself. Ah, ha 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 ha. Last night's episode of A Day in the Life of was interesting, wasn't it? She was just as guilty as me. Rena was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What is that? Mion answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right. Rena really did make a picnic. Kei-chan, after you left, Rena pulled out all the stops. It's not like I forced her to do it. It was nothing, so don't worry about it, okay? She's been like this since last night, you know. Can you take responsibility for this? Alright. I am a man after all. I'll take responsibility. Huh? Responsibility? For what? For what? As we both turned around slowly to look at Rena, our gazes drifted downwards towards the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Rena we were talking about here. About 2 kilos, I guess. When Rena was picking it up, I could see she was struggling a bit. I say 5. You're exaggerating. Keiichi-kun is a boy after all. I thought he could probably eat a lot, so I made a lot, okay? Ahaha, let's get going. Heave ho! From the way she was lifting it up, I couldn't believe that the only things in there were lunch boxes. Correction, I say 5 kilos too. I'll help out, but all of it needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Rena sad, got it? The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll, a carefree walk bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around. Ah, good day. Good day. Oh, you would be... you would be Meibara-kun, I believe. My 2 companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All of these passerbys even knew my name. When did I become this famous? We passed 3 people, and when all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a bit paranoid. It's a bit sad to say. Everyone knows everyone since there's so few people here in Hinamizawa. So that means when there's an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume it's that Meibara fella who just moved here. Yeah, that's how it works. It was a process of elimination you could only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking at a dirty magazine in the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers to be labelling me as a lech by the next day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. That's not the end of this nightmare. Of course I know them. The first person we met was old man Tekizao from the Mikino bike shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute. Next, we met the grocery store's second son, Daisuke-kun. His hobby is sharpshooting, and he hopes to be an ace sniper in the future. And the person we just met was Mio-san, the nurse from the clinic. Her hobbies are birdwatching and photography. You know the names of everyone we passed by, and even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mion and Rena exchanged looks and burst into laughter. Well, yeah. We're not like the city where people hardly know their neighbours. Then let's try it out. You there, who am I? Ah ha 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 ha. You're Keiichi Meibara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind, shy person. It's been 3 weeks since you transferred here. Your hobby is taking afternoon naps. Lately, you've switched over to wearing boxers, didn't you? That's enough, that's enough. But boxers? Trunksu? Enough of that. Apparently there is absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. Hinamizawa was not a place to be trifled with. This feels more like you guys are showing me off rather than showing me around. That's right. We're parading around like this after all. It'll give everyone a chance to see for themselves. that Kei-chan is fitting right in here in Hinamizawa. The population in Hinamizawa is shrinking, so the villagers will welcome anybody who's new here. I thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of, "You're kidding me," but I held back. Had I ever greeted someone who just moved into the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe that what they said wasn't a joke at all. We passed another person. Of course we were called out to again, the same way. "Oh my, good day. It's wonderful seeing you getting along. This lady here is Fujishima-san." "Good day. Oh my, Mibara-kun, how wonderful for you, having a lovely girl in each arm. How are you? Getting used to life here?" Instead of regurgitating it, a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an empathetic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was. Good. As I looked back over to Renna and Mion, they gave me a wink. "So now then, about time to have lunch, maybe? Renna's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget. We both looked at each other. "I am a man. I'll do what I can. But it's just too much." "It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man." Mion has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class representative. "Renna, if we're going to eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view." "Wow, yes. Good idea, I agree." Renna nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. Cresting the top of a stone stairway, a shrine dawned straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling. This here is the Furude shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around. I'm not sure if it's Furude or Furude. Could be either. This place, be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here, actually. Does it repeat lines? Furude, she says, yeah. Ah, is it a bit too early in the season for a festival? The Watanagashi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration of the end of winter. I was embarrassed for assuming that festivals had to be held in the summer. Now then, spread out the lunchboxes, and there. Various coloured lunchboxes were placed, one after the other, on top of the plastic sheet. It sure did smell delicious. It was Renna's home cooking. It went without saying that it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all of this? Hey, Mion, it'll take more than just a good view to get all of this down, to get this all down, you know. Good afternoon. It was Rik-chan and Satoko. Why are they here? Mion grinned over at me. I see, this was her secret plan. The power in numbers. You have my thanks, Mion. Following up when all of the pieces are in place is my specialty. We just had to come here since there was such a commotion. What is the meaning of this? Take a look. It's time for lunch. Buffet style. A handmade gourmet meal by Rena. I can see that much. Why have you laid out a tarp on our property? The temple is public grounds. It's not yours. Keiichi is right. This is everyone's property. Wow, Rika-chan is such a good girl. Have a seat. Eat with us. After opening a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko. Hold on 1 second. Where is my spot? No spot for you and nothing for you to eat. Don't worry, there's some for you too. None. I'll eat all of hers. I will not allow that. Rika. Here, chopsticks. Both Satoko and I leapt at the boxes, having it out with each other. Man, really, Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on. You might have a talent for this. Ooh. Have a plate, one for me-chan and Rika-chan too. Rena whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates. If we don't hurry, it'll all be eaten up. That's right. Okay. Shall we commence this battle? Please eat a lot. There's enough for everyone, Rena said as she opened up a thermos. Just then, I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. It didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different. I will not allow you to have this hamburger. Using your elbow is against the rules, Satoko. Grabbing the back of my collar is also against the rules. It was a tough battle, blocking with her full momentum and an elbow in the opening moves. Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved to be fatal and gave me the upper hand. The last meatball. Satoko Hojo has been bested. Nom. Satoko and I ambly began choking at the same time, falling backwards and spasming. Rika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Rena blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Mion advised Rena to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power, just so things could stay like this. The intense battle calmed, and finally everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. I do wonder why there are so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes. Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era? It seems that, long ago, people ate in silence. It must have made the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think? It's probably because the people back then were so busy eating that they didn't have the time to complement the flavor. That's just you. But you know, just hearing that it's good makes me happy. That my effort was worth it, I mean. She blushed a little as she said that. It was delicious. With absolutely perfect timing, Rika-chan struck Rena directly with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. Oh, Oh? After Rena uttered an intelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof. How... Rika-chan, I'm gonna take you home. No, I mean... Thank you. It was really delicious. Rena flushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard you could almost hear it. To reward Rika-chan for her praise, ta-da! These are special, 2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them towards Rika-chan. After Rika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way. What is it, Satoko? What's with that defiant look? Has everyone prepared proper praise to receive apples from Rena-san? Don't push yourself. What kind of praise can you think up with your weak vocab? Ho 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 ho. Well then, allow me to show you. After Satoko flashed Mion and me a defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly. Hey. So, Rena Oni-chan's lunch. Satoko thought it was yummy too. Satoko looked at her poultily while talking cutesy. What? How was that praise? That's not even persuasion by tears. That's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is this is a Rena Limited special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Rena! Oh, how... Of course, that was asking for the impossible. Rena glomped Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against her. Cute. Satoko is so cute. Take you home. How? Swish, stab, push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Miyunami again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Rena. That's unfair, to think she had such a trick. If it upsets you so much, why don't you reward Sena-san with some praise? Damn it! That was a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even praise. Satoko, you think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you guys something much better than your superficial gimmicks? That sounds great, Mion. What kind of trick is it? Kei-chan is going to be the one who does it. What? Ho 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 ho. Why don't I have you show me then? The withering of an old maid. The plan of attack she suggested was wicked, but it was the only thing we had to beat Satoko. After sipping my tea, I started talking, very naturally and calmly. Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? Ooh. This is all freshly made, right? No. Actually, most of it, almost all of it, was frozen stuff. Then which ones did you make fresh? Well, it's embarrassing. Do I really have to say? Must I? From the synergy of the boy plus handmade lunchboxes, her expression... Wait, the synergy of a boy plus handmade lunchboxes, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. This one, right? Rana turned an even deeper shade of red, the words, "I can't believe it," practically written on her face. How can you tell? How? That I made it. Of course, Mion had told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell. Silence enveloped the area. Rena, face still completely red, froze solid. With a small yelp, Satoko also blushed. Of course, I did too. I sure would like to try one of Rena's handmade apple rabbits, or something. Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, it felt like I had crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. Then, at that moment, boosh! It was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits. Please eat some, Kiichi-kun. There's plenty for you. Fuck. Instantly, dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. Okay, so say, Kiichi-kun. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee-hee. My head was forcibly laid upon her lap, and even more apples were shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one apple after another was forced into my mouth. More and more apples. How well the mouth. Looks like I win. K-chan, that was a beautiful sacrifice. How's that, Satoko? This is our complete victory, isn't it? I can't believe it. Such trickery. It doesn't bother me at all. Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it. I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me. At that time, Rena stopped her squealing as she suddenly realized something. Rika-chan, you're not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong? Maybe? Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled the toothpick out of the apple rabbit, placed it into her cup hands, and seemed to be at a loss for what to do. Poor Mr. Rabbit. I feel sorry for him. I want to save him. Pwee! That was the sound of blood spurting from Rena's nose. Cute! Tonight I will take you home. She shook sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all the apples from around me, gathered them up, and fixed them back up on the plate. Now they're all just fine, Kay. Here, I'll give them to you, Rika-chan. Kay? Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having the plate of rabbits shoved to her. She whispered, "This is our victory." What? A comeback? Hi, Hest. Look here in your. Thus, my sacrifice ended up being in vain. It was a fun-filled, crazy day, but as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly. Later, Rena and K-chan, see you tomorrow. Thanks for today, Mion. I had a great time. See you tomorrow. Huh? Satoko and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion, and it ended with just Rena and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home. Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Was it fun? Yeah, lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now. Then, well, would you mind taking a little detour, maybe? A detour? Is it far? It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long. Since we had been walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teaser Rena, I nodded quietly. Traversing a small path and up a small hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There. Oh, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recall it being in the newspaper. Oof, 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 oof. It's been quite a while. I wonder what's here. I wonder what's here. When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with this garbage pile? It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure. Rena had already entered that well-known cute mode of hers. So that meant there was something cute here? Whoa, a new pile. I can't wait. I can't wait. She descended the unstable slope with ease. I expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Hey, wait, I'm coming. Whoa! My city raised self was completely pitiful. It's alright. Just stay right there, Kichi-kun. It won't take long. Rena kindly declined my accompaniment. Accompaniment? Is that how it's said? What the heck? Don't fall. Watch your step. I'm fine, I'm fine. This is nothing at all. Literally bounding among the heaps of trash, Rena disappeared from sight. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still pretty tired from the whole day, so I just ended up waiting. Without the lively Rena around, the surrounding area quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy, and then the sudden noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around. Standing there was a typical-looking photographer. He spied over at me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit, but something about him seemed unreliable, and he had a bit of an aloof air around him. Well, it didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case. Whoa! You surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad, my bad. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you from Hinamizawa? I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious gaze, he introduced himself without my prompting. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer. I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask you who you were. Quite rude to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad, my bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. They can't refuse, you see. Ah, ha 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 ha. So what, you're saying I'm the same as birds? No, well, you see, that the image of a young man in the twilight was just picturesque. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. Adults are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he butted me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy to me, except it didn't seem like Rena would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling on about himself. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now. Rena popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand. You have someone with you? What would she be doing over there? That's what I wanted to know. Dunno. Maybe she's checking on that dismembered corpse that was out here long ago. Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. Uh-oh. I responded like I would if I was talking with Rena and the others. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. Haha, Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You're waiting a while, I guess? I'd best leave you two lovebirds alone. Again, my apologies for startling you, Keiichi-kun. Tomitaki-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit. Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why, I wonder. It wasn't Rena's fault, so I decided to brush it off for now. How was it? Find a treasure trove? Oh yes, so listen. You see, there was a Colonel Randy doll. A Colonel Randy doll? Oh, that thing. Those statues they always have out in front of that fried chicken place. That life-size dummy? Yes, Colonel Randy. How cute. I want to take it home. I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not, but well, she seems to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just take it home, right? It's become the base of another pile. I can't dig it out easily. There's no lampposts over there, so it'll get dark pretty soon. Rena seemed quite down about finding treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out, to repay you for that delicious picnic you prepared today. Thank you. Birds heading home to roost proclaimed that nightfall would soon be upon us. Keiichi-kun is going to help. I can take Colonel Randy home. How? Rena staggered along, as if intoxicated in her dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Hey, Rena. Long ago, did something happen here? Seems like they were building a dam here. I don't know the details though. How? Just wondering if you knew about, an incident or something. I don't know. Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Rena quickly lightened her expression. Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago. Huh? You transferred here too? I was sure that... So you see, I don't really know much from before that. Sorry. Don't really know? Don't want to talk about it. That was the kind of feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course it would be like that. This wasn't the type of things girls would enjoy talking about. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. If it was just like Tomitaki-san said, then I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know.